Assalamualaikum and good day to all of the viewers. So in this session, we're going to continue our lesson on Introduction to Revit, which is we're going to explore on how to modeling a wall, which is can be considered as one of the major component in the buildings, and followed by how to add the doors and windows component on top of the wall that have been modeled. So in this session, so we're gonna divide into three specific topic or section, which is on the first part we're gonna see on how to modeling the walls on top of the grid that have been set up. If we recap back to our previous session and exercise, and followed by how to obtaining the library, so which is in Revit. So normally we're gonna use the existing library that have been modeled or have been created by expert or existing users outside there. So we're gonna use back the library that have been done. So because if we build the components or the elements one by one, is gonna consume a lot of the time, so it's gonna drag a lot of the works. So the easiest way, so we're gonna use back the library. So I'm gonna show to you how to get those library that suitable for the Malaysian context, Malaysian construction context. So and then the last part for this session, we're gonna see on how to adding those libraries, which is the components. So for this session specifically, we're gonna learn on how to add the doors and windows component on top of the wall. Okay, so we're gonna go to the Autodesk Revit. So as you can see on your screen now, so this is literally the blank project. So I'm gonna do the short recap back from what we have learned previously. Okay, so the first one is if you still remember, so we're gonna go to the south elevation. So we can see the level here. So we're gonna set the level first. So which is I'm gonna start by the ground floor, and then yes, and then follows by first floor, and then yes, and then I can always adjust the grid here according to the height. So for example, I just put it 3000. So and then I always can add another level. So for example, I add another level 3000 above here, which is for level 3. So I can rename it, for example, for the 02 roof level, for example, and then I can say yes. Okay, for example, roof beam, for example. Okay, so and then from that, so we can see that the level is already reflected here in the floor plans layout. So we can go to the ground floor plan back. So for example, this is again as a recap. So we're gonna draw the grid one by one. So for example, if I start the grid, so always start from the bottom to the top. So the first grid, and then maybe the gap in between grid, I just put it as a 5000, for example. So again, this is I just draw that without any specific measurement or dimension. So I just simply do it freely. So for your case, so you have to draw by refer to the project that you have obtained from the data that you have collected from the office in the second week. So for this one is just for the demonstration purpose. So I just simply draw the grid without without any specific dimension. Okay, so and then again, so this is the grid by numberings, and then follows by the label for the grids. For example, here I just put it as A, B, D. Okay, right. Okay, just for another additional info. So for example, if you want to draw the grid, or maybe the gap in between the grid is too small, so you cannot arrange that, or maybe the label of the grid is overlap, so you can use what we can call as a multi-segment, which is here, for example. So I just start here, so come to the top, for example. So I just make it slightly slanted into certain angle, so and then I just end it here. So I just click finish edit. So as you can see here, you already form another grid here. So that's mean, for example, if this grid is too close, so sometimes the label is overlap, so you can use the multi-segmented, or maybe you can use this kind of the grid, for example, if you have different angle in between your grid. For example, as you can see, this is in a parallel common grid. For example, if you have the angular wall, so you might use this particular techniques. So again, I can rename the grid. For example, here maybe 2A, for example. So it depends. It depends on how you gonna rename your grid. So or maybe I just make it as a 3, for example, to avoid the confusion. So again, okay, because it does have the similar name, so I just change first. This one 4, and then this one will be 3. Okay, right. So right now we already have the grid. So after that, we can add the dimension on top of the grid. So for example, I just can use here align dimension, for example, for shortcut. So I just make the dimension. Okay. So and then after that, you already have the dimension in between the grid. So and then follows by this dimension, for example. So it's quite easy. So because you just simply drag your mouse and then find the point A to the point B. So as you can see here, already have the proper grid, proper labeling, and proper dimension. So right now we go to the first one, which is how to build the wall on top of our grid. Okay, so as you can see here, in this ribbon, so you can see that under the architecture there's a wall. So you choose wall, and then after that you have to choose what kind of a wall that you're gonna use for your project. So for example here, I just choose, for example, the generic 200mm walls, for example. So maybe it depends on your project, so you have to refer back to the data that you have collected from your site. Okay, so I just choose the basic generic wall, and then on the first part that here you can see, so you have to set what is the height of your wall, or maybe you just can choose that maybe your wall just connected to only to the first floor, for example. So I just choose the first floor. Okay, so after that you just can simply the intersection of the points, or maybe the column later on your drawing. So as you can see here, so I just simply draw the wall again. So I just draw the wall freely without any proper reference or proper design. So because this is just for the sake of the demonstration. Okay, so for example, maybe this is the wall in this project. So I just I just simply draw that without any proper okay. So maybe this is the outlook of the wall, for example. So maybe it does have the internal wall, for example. So I just simply choose from this point to this point, and then maybe from this point to this point, and then from this point to this point, from these points to this point, for example. So we already have such an enclosure space here. So again, this is just for the sake of the demonstration. So I don't have any specific design. For example, this is, for example, if you want to move the points here, you can always move the points here. For example, the intersection. Okay, so this is how you gonna the basic way to draw the wall. So and then after that, we can view that. For example, I just go to the south view. So this is the wall, or maybe you can go to the view, and then you choose the 3D view. Okay, so this is the view in the 3D. So and then just in case that you cannot see that, you can go to the top bottom left on your screen, and then visual, and then you just choose shaded. So this is the shaded the wall, and then you can see here the height. We set that the wall to be connected to the first floor, so that's you can see that clear maybe from the elevation. So which is from this is the wall. So maybe I just change here. Okay, so the wall, the height of the wall is from the ground floor to the first floor, because if you recap back, so we set that to connected to the first floor. So we go back to the ground floor. So for example, architecture, so and then wall, if you still remember, so we choose that to be connected to the first floor. Okay, so that's the first step on how to draw the wall. Okay, so normally what after the draw is we will do the modify. Okay, so for example, if I choose this, so after I click the wall, so you can see that there are numbers of the tools that we can use to modify this particular wall. So if you are familiar using AutoCAD, for example, so this is a bit the basic common tools. For example, they are offset, and then they are align, they are even mirror, they are even trim or extend, or they are even how to cut or how to split the wall into a specific location, and then there are even what we can call as a wall joints. For example, if you draw the wall, so it doesn't enclose, so you can use that particular tools. Okay, maybe we can explore a few of the modified tools for the wall. So for example, the first one, the align tools. So it will help us to align the direction or the angle of the wall by following the basic reference angle of the wall that we are referring to. So for example, this wall, so I want to make this wall refer to that, so I just simply click the reference wall, and then follows by the part that we're gonna refer to. So for example, this is another example. So as you can see here, so it will be following back where's the reference point. Okay, and then offset. So as you know, that offsets is gonna be offsetting the part, the elements by specify what is the value of the gap. For example, here I put the gap, for example, 2 meter. Oops, sorry. 2 meter, for example. So I want to offset this wall. So it's gonna offset the wall for 2 meter. So quite common. The application is quite common if you oftenly using CAD or SketchUp, for example. Okay, and then mirror. mirror, we have two mirror. The first one is if we use the existing line as it exists, or the second one is we creating the new axis. So for example, I choose the second one, for example. So I select all the elements that I want to mirror. So and then I just hit enter. So and after that I just draw axis. For example, this is my axis. So as you can see here, so this is already been mirrored. So what is slightly off axis and may cause inaccuracies. Yes, again, as I mentioned earlier, so this is I just draw that without any proper reference. So I just simply draw that freely. Okay, so that's for the mirror. And then what else? Move. Move is simply if you hit move, so you can always move the components to whichever components that you want to relocate. For example, here I want to move this wall, for example. Okay, here. So it's gonna move to another based on the location or based on the design. Okay. And then copy, common. If you have to copy the elements, copy wall, for example, you just simply choose the item, and then you just simply can copy that to another location. And then rotate again. So you have to pick okay, sorry. Okay, so you just can simply pick the element and then hit enter, and then choose the center point that you're gonna rotate. So like that. Again, it's depend on the where is the center point that you're gonna choose for rotation. Okay, and then trim or extend to corner. So for example, this is two wall here, so you want to extend that, you want to connect that, so just simply hit that, so it's gonna be meet at the end like that. So and then trim and extend again. So for example, if you have element and then you want to extend, so you can extend like that. Or if you want to trim, for example, trim here, and then you can trim that. So it depends. So similar to the CAD, if you still remember, if you commonly using the CAD. So and then we have split. So for example, this is one element, so we can cut that, for example here, so to become two different component. Or maybe we can choose split with the gap. So for example, you choose split with the gap. So for example, you have to set what is the value of the gap. For example, 1000. I choose 1000, for example. Okay. Oh, this is only specific number. Okay, right. So maybe I just choose 100, for example. So this is not the common tools that being used. Okay, so as you can see, there's a gap in between the wall. Okay, right. So this is somehow part of the tools that we can that might be demonstrated in this particular session. Okay, so we move to the next part, which is how to create the library, which is based on those library. So we're gonna add the door and window into our project. So for example, we just view from the 3D, for example. So as you can see here, this is definitely solid wall. So for example, if I want to add the door or window, for example, I choose the door here. So you can choose a lot of the numbers of the door. So but again, so resources or library is quite crucial in a way to draw or in a way to creating such a comprehensive project. So again, what we have here, for example, so maybe this is the common that been used worldwide. So but maybe in Malaysia context we have such a specific kind of door and window, so which is depends on the availability from the manufacturers in Malaysia. Okay, so for that, so I'm gonna show first how to get the suitable library and components that relevant in the Malaysian construction industry. Okay, so for that, the first part is hold on. So in Malaysia, so let me show to you because we have to get that online. Okay. Okay, all right. So as you can see here, this is two website here. Okay, so the first one, you can get the library, dedicated library. So for example, if you go to the Autodesk Revit content, so for example, I'm use 2023 for example, so I can get it from Autodesk Revit 2023 content. So and then you can scroll down and then you can choose our location, which is Malaysia. Okay, here, and then you just simply download this and then you just hit install, and then it will be automatically installed into your Autodesk Revit. So but again, I am not so sure if you are using the cracked version or the pirate version, so I don't know is that compatible or not. But for me, for example, I use that the education version, so it does work quite it's work within my Autodesk Revit. Okay, right. So another method is you can go to what we can call as a MyBIM website, mybimlibrary.my. So over here, so you need to, you just simply create your own account. Okay, sorry, the internet connection is not really good here. Okay, so you go to the page and then you just simply create your own account. So for example, I have my own account here, so I just log in by using my own account. So and then it's free. Okay, so this is the home, the basic interface of the MyBIM library website. So as you can see here, I already logged in by using my own account. So for example, you can go to the products here, and then you can browse. Normally we go to the architecture, but unless if you have another component that you might want to adapt into your design or project. So for example, IBS, you can go to the IBS. So for example, at the bottom part, you can see that this is the latest product that been uploaded into this database. Even the latest one is 1 year ago. Okay, so you can go to the architecture, for example, for the common component that might be used into our project, and then you can simply go to each of the component that you want to download. For example, if I want to go to the door, so I can go to the door. So there will be numbers of the component. For example, for the door, there are 75 types of the doors that been uploaded into this particular database that might be used into our project. So again, remember, this is some of the door. This is the door that following the standard in the Malaysian construction, or even some of the door component is uploaded by the manufacturers. So it depends again in our design. It depends on our design. So again, for example, if you have some sort of the dedicated or specific design for your own window or door, so you can use, or you can start to develop your own how to call that, your own door or window components. Okay, so you how to download that? You can simply click to the icon, and then you can directly, it will be directly direct you to the database, and then you can download that. But of course here I cannot show that because my internet connection now is not really in the good condition, so I just simply showing that. Okay, so for example, this is the downloaded file, which is by using the Revit file. So and then it does have two methods on how we gonna add this component into our drawings. Okay, so one of the way is the shortest way, which is we can simply drag the image or drag the file into the Autodesk Revit, and then can simply apply that component into any part in our wall. Okay, so this is one of the easiest way to apply that. Okay, into the drawings. So but again, sometimes when we are simply doing like this, the problem is when we want to use back the component in the future. So maybe it might be difficult for us to find that file again later on, and then to the end we just simply using that copy paste, for example, in future. Okay, so by using the modified tools that I mentioned earlier lah, similar to the wall. So another way is which is much more structured and much more in the proper way. Okay, so we can use for example architecture, and then door, for example. So we can use load family. Okay, so once we get the load family, so this is depends on your Autodesk Revit setting. So this is what happened into my Revit. So once I click on the load family, this is the folder that is directed me in. So for example, this is some of the, how to say that, some of the library. So for example, this is, as you can see, this is Malaysia. So this is the folder that based on the things that I download and install from the Autodesk platform, from here, from this content. So once I download and I install that, so it will be this is the only component that's downloaded into my Autodesk Revit, so it's quite limited. So another way is we can create our own library. So for example, in this particular library, so how to get the directory folders for these libraries. So as you can see here, hold on. Okay, so this is the directory, which is this is in my computer. So under the program data, so under the Autodesk folder, so you find the version of your Revit. So for my case, I use the Revit 2023, and then under library, so I create the new folder, which is I call that as a my BIM. So this is the library that I get from the my BIM, for example. Okay, so under my BIM, so again for this one, so how to get that? So from the downloaded file, so you just simply copy and paste into this particular directory. So just simply creating the new folder, and then you just move or paste your folder into this particular folder. So and then in your Revit, how to get that? So for example, from load family, so I just find that in this particular libraries folder. So I just go to the my BIM, so I just click this one and then just click open. So and then automatically we can use that into our drawings. So this is for the door. So and then again the same way goes to the window. So for example, So yes, in this particular Revit, so it does have the common libraries. For example, I want to go to the window, for example. So it does have their own libraries, for example. So I choose this window, for example. Uh, so I just can simply maybe we go by the elevation, for example. Window. So for example, so we can use their own library, for example. So again, so I don't know, sometimes some of the window is doesn't suit with our context. So again, we have to be careful, and then again it's depend on our design and depends on the requirement of the projects. Okay. So when we from the 3D, so this is the windows lah. Okay. So I guess it's quite a bit straightforward and is a bit simple how to get the component. So remember that the more database that you get, so the more easiest way for you to generating the model or completing the project. So because when you do have the option, so you have numbers of way to do the designs lah. So for example, when you have the component for the window, for example, you have type A, B, C. So but if you have from type A to type Z, so it might be easiest for you to choose according to your design. Okay, all right. Okay, so I guess that's a bit that's quite uh, uh, numbers of the ways to add the components into our project. So my advice is maybe on the first part you just downloading first from the database, and then just move that into the dedicated folder that as I show earlier, which is by using the directory of folder for the Autodesk Revit. So rather than you just simply drag into your Revit, so I'm advising you to use the proper way, which is by using the load family. So why? Because in future when you are starting to, when your project is getting bigger, so if you have such a structured storage of your database and component, so it might help you to draw your drawing or completing your project easier, rather than you just simply find from here and there. So better you just simply arrange that into a proper library for your Revit. Okay, just for additional input. Okay, for every single component or model or library that you had downloaded and applied into your model, so you can always do the modification. For example, for this component, this door. So for example, as you can see here, it does have the specific measurement, how high the door, and what is the width of the door. So you can always edit the size by clicking here in the top left in the properties, and then you can always change the size. For example, here the dimension, the height is 2000, so you can change to whatever dimension that you intend to do on top of your design or on top of your drawings. So but again, whatever that you have here is normally this is for example, this is downloaded from the my BIM resources. So this is somehow the standard manufacturer size that you can find. But if you want to change that according to your own design, for example, you can always duplicate that, and then you can give the new name, for example, the version 1. So it's up to your own preference, and then just click OK. And then for example, you can change the height. For example, I want to change to 2500, for example. And then the length or the width, I want to change that to certain 3000 for example, and then just click apply, and then let's click OK. So sorry, I mistakenly put that as a 30,000. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Just have to click no. Okay, so for this, so I just change it back. Just now I give the value 30,000, right? Or this one. So apply and okay. So at the moment, the size of the windows already changed to dimension or to the size that I want to get. And then you can always see that in details. So what else, the things that you want to edit here. So for example, for the frame and so on. So but again, it depends on your design preference, and it depends on what kind of the door or components that you want to apply or use into your design. Okay, so I guess that's somehow that's all for this session. So in the next part, we gonna continue our lesson on how to add the floor element into, or the floor element or the horizontal component into the Revit. Okay, so I guess that's all. So again, please complete your exercise, and then share the link of your uploaded exercise into the answer area. Okay, right. That's all for this session, and then thank you, and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.